Welcome to another episode of What Was Said podcast, or either Bit My Said Too Much podcast, whichever one flows off your tongue the fastest, and whatever you can remember the most. Thank you for listening, and go ahead and hit that notification bell or the subscribe button, and you'll get to know when this good old podcast is posted. Continue to like, share, and give your feedback on this good old podcast, okay? Hello, hello. Welcome to What Was Said podcast, or either Big Mouth Said Too Much podcast, whichever one that flows off your tongue the fastest and whatever that you can remember the most. But today you have myself here, and we have a nice, beautiful guest. She hit me up and wanted to join the podcast, and I really appreciate it because that goes to show that hey, like you listen to me, you feel my energy, and you like what you getting into. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce to you Veronica Williams, also known as Waterfall Williams. She has two books out there that I researched and that I saw called the Eclectic Mind of V and Free to Be V. And those books are self-published. And I'm so proud of her for that because I can't say I tried to write a book, but it to each his own. I tried, but it ain't for me because I'm more of a talker more than a person that writes stuff down. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and try. I'm just like, podcasting is where I'm at. Like, it's actually, you can see the joy and the energy that I bring throughout my podcast versus, a book, because I know I'm more of a talker than a writer. And I also saw that she wrote two blogs. She does two blogs also. One is called Waterfall's World, and it's about different topics. And then I also saw that she writes another blog called American Gothic about art. So you can go ahead and briefly, we're going to start off with a little icebreaker before we start. And the first icebreaker question is, would you let aliens beam you up if they were real?
No.
What? And the way this world going, you wouldn't think so. As long as they ain't trying to probe you now.
No.
I'm shocked. Because I want to get away from here.
Oh, and by the way, it's Veronica Adams, and the pen and station name is Waterfall Adams.
Oh, I said it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm glad you corrected me.
Thank you.
I can't say, well, I'm glad you corrected me in the beginning, but, before I did a deeper dive into it, because, I don't want to say nothing wrong, but I appreciate it. And the next question is, if you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Well, that's a little hard to pick. Maybe super strength or the ability to fly.
True. Mine will be mind control because the way this government is going, I need to control a little bit of them so they can, fix a little bit of stuff that's going on in society right now because the laws that they making for us is really beyond me. Like y'all worried about the wrong things right now. I need to be worried
Well,
about higher pay.
well, the world has faced worse than this.
True. Because I want us to live in a like it was in at least the 90s and the 2000s, where at least life was a little bit bearable back then, where it won't as much going on like it is now, where every time you look on the news, there's something negative going on every single day. But I'm gonna go ahead and start it off with a brief introduction and
Excuse
into
me.
Waterfall Adams. So you can go ahead and tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a creative professional. I self-publish two poetry books, and I'm working on more written content. All right, these books are available in ebook and paperback back format, and I'm also trying to get into the audiobook format.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So
Either,
what I'm about to say was, what got you into writing?
well, I always did want to write a book one day. So one of creative things I could do with my creative endeavors to make money.
That's good. That's good. So, what am I about to say? Is writing hard for you, or do you have any troubles with it?
Sometimes you don't know what you want to write about, and like sometimes you feel like you're creatively on empty. Sometimes.
So you can't say, have you ever ran into writer's block ever? Like you had a moment where you're just okay, hey, I don't know what to write. Like I'm just stuck right now.
Maybe like read some books, go for a walk. It could help with that.
True,
Maybe get more new material that way. Take
true.
the
So basically,
shower.
true. So basically, life experiences like if you're just doing your day to day. Because I know with me, I get my best ideas right before bed, and sometimes, like you said, when you're taking a shower, like the thoughts just come, and it's like I try to hurry up and write them down. Like, do you try to do that sometimes? Like, if you have a quick thought, do you like stop what you're doing and like immediately write it down?
When I have enough time, make sure it's still there so I'll be able to write it down so I won't forget it.
Uh, do you do it the old fashioned way? Because I know some people back in the day used to do the recording, like they'll record themselves saying something. Like, do you do that too?
I write it down either like in a notebook or a computer. Ideas I write down in like a notebook and they're able to type it on a computer.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Do you have sympathy for the writers right now that's going on with the entertainment industry with the writers like on strike?
Yeah, I need to research that topic even more before I comment on it. It's just that I believe the writers they need to be paid like a wage where they're able to support themselves.
And I feel like that's true. Like I feel like everybody deserves it. Like I feel like especially if you doing a job, I feel like you definitely need to be paid more than what you deserve.
Mm.
Especially if you doing a good service for this company. Like especially if you giving them, bringing them so much revenue. Like yeah, pay me what I deserve. Like pay me
Like,
what I
well,
deserve.
this is not the first writer strike. I just need to research more details what led to this strike this time.
Me
I'm
too, because I
around.
was wondering. I was always wondering, like, okay, I understand what happened to the one like in the 2000s. I was young, but I did a like I ain't say I did no research, but I heard about it because that's why girlfriends got canceled because of
Oh yeah, the one in
that.
2008.
Hmm. I was like, no, not girlfriends, because it took me to adulthood to figure out, what girlfriends was about because I was too young to figure out
Yeah, I
that
remember I
show.
was in my probably freshman year in high school when that show first came out, or
Okay,
or somewhere around my teens, maybe 14. Well, maybe it came out in 2000, maybe around I was like 14 at the time. I think my dad left that show. You can
I
find it on Netflix.
definitely. I can't say I watched it. I watched this though. I ain't finished the whole season because after Tony left, I was just like, I ain't watching it no more because I need
Yeah,
all four of them together.
and also since the show moved to Netflix, not Netflix, oh CW. Remember, WB and UPN that merged
Hmm.
into CW.
And I feel like once it did that, I feel like it started shifting. Like, cause I remember UPN. I definitely remember UPN. All the shows would be up there, 101, and what else was up there? I don't think it was.
Moesha.
Yep, Moesha. Those were some good shows. So can you tell me about your favorite book or poem that you like to read?
I remember a book of poems. I remember Maya Angelou books.
Hmm.
I remember her that book she wrote. I know why the caged bird sings.
Hmm.
It's a good book.
I never read it, but I definitely read a couple poems in that book when I was in school. And I can't say some of those poems was actually good. Like, only part I just didn't get when I was younger was trying to break it down because I feel like I don't know if my mind was ready to try to break those poems down at that time. And what I would say is, when I listened to your YouTube video, I listened to one of your poems where you was talking about dancing, and I guess I could relate to that because I definitely, when I'm going through troubles, I dance. I gotta do something. So can you briefly tell me about that? What
Oh,
motivated
this
you to write that?
the point it's called We Have to Dance. Like it, even though it's originally in this book, there's like a
Hmm.
revised version in this book that I might revise it some more to try to also adapt it to stage in the screen. It's about the history of African American dance. Like, here's some line. I would say some lines, and I'm gonna break the lines down.
Okay, you can
As
definitely do that now.
here we go. We have the dance by me, Waterfall Adams. As a people, we have the dance. Way back in the motherland, we always have the dance. Through times of joy, sadness, to heal and rites of passage, we have the dance. Like, you know how Africa, it's a big continent and have different people, different cultures, different dances. Like, even I forgot to mention also that other part, mating. Like, for example, there's a people called the Wadabe
Hmm.
that name these people of the taboo. In the rainy season, there's this festival called the Girawa. And there's a dance like the men do. It's kind of like a beauty pageant, but with women, single and even married women, they're the judges.
Oh wow.
And ones that they like, either like a night of passion, or they agree to be like a lover or like a spouse or something. I need to research a lot more in depth. Like, even like times of joy and sadness, like weddings or funerals, rites of passage. Like, dance could be like the medicine person dance for like the kind of like to heal the sick person. Rites of passage usually, like, say if a girl, she goes through puberty and she start getting the hips, like
Hmm.
the both from the African dances with like the hips is like moved in there. Now the next part. Through times of enslavement, we still have the dance. Even when they try to take it away, we dance through the shade. Now, this part talks about the enslavement of the African people,
Hmm.
and then like certain the that society tried to like they restricted the dance moves that the African peoples did because if it's like out of isolation, hip movement. If you come like hip movement, usually kind of relates to sex.
Yeah, I
And
can
what I
see
meant
that.
like dance through the shade. Like after slavery, there was like a dance called the cakewalk. It's like a
Hmm.
dance that made fun of like the European style of dances.
Oh wow, I never known that. You
Yeah.
taught me something new.
All right. From the juke joints to the migration, we have the dance. Even when it is time to pay the rent, we had to dance. Like we're in the 20th, early 20th century. Like the juke joints, you seen the color purple?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a juke joint. And the great debaters, there's like a juke joint feature over there where the like the dancing, the food, and the moonshine,
Hmm.
and the migration where a lot of black people from the south moved up north, even moved west. So the black dance kind of started to spread, and also there was the speakeasies in different like clubs where you see black people dance like the Cotton Club. Even though they performed there, they couldn't sit in the audience.
I
Through
definitely can see how I can definitely see how our dances migrated.
Oh, and I forgot to mention even in the point the Chitlin Circuit.
Hmm. I definitely heard
It's
about that.
Yeah, it's like we're certain venues that allow black people to perform because there was ones that where black people they can't perform there or even like with hotels or whatever and restaurants where they could eat
Hmm.
and or for like hotels they could stay at. It might be like somebody's house.
So basically, they was performing basically in close knit places because of slavery back then, or and because of
Or
the
slavery.
migration.
Yeah. Well, like they when they're traveling the road in this country, Also, there's also something I heard about called the Green Book.
Hmm.
Now back to the rest. Through Depression and Worldwide War, we have the dance. Now this part is like the 1930s and 40s. You remember the 1930s, the Great Depression happened, and Worldwide War part is the Second Worldwide War. You know they had the Lindy Hop, Jitterbug. Like there's a, for example, like the swing era.
Hmm.
Like if you ever watched Malcolm X from 1992,
You're talking the movie with Denzel Washington or a?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, you saw back when he was wearing like the zoot suit and
Hmm.
that ballroom. Yeah, those type of dances were happening back then. In the sock hop, I mean the dance studios and sock hops, we have the dance. On television and through civil unrest, live and in color, we have the dance. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me start over. I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
On television and through civil unrest, we have the dance. Live and in color, we can get smooth and we can get rough. Live and in color and integrated. Now, the lines I just said, we're now in the 1950s and 60s.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is where we start to see television. Like, for example, it was, rock and roll, Motown.
Hmm. Those were
And this
definitely
was,
popular plays.
yes, and this is when the in 1958 when the Alvin Ailey dance um, company started,
Hmm.
and the sock hops is where like the teenagers like go to these dances, but they gotta take their shoes off so they won't scuff up this dance floor.
Oh wow, they were real particular.
Yes, and also like civil unrest. This is like the civil rights movement was going on around this time. And also, there was a TV show where Frankie Lyman was in. That show got canceled. One TV show, it got canceled because he danced with a white girl.
Oh wow, hold on now. Are you talking about this? Because I'm thinking when I hear Frankie Lyman, I'm thinking about that movie that Vivica Fox did.
Why do fools fall in love?
Yes, because I wasn't that a part in the movie.
Yes, that really happened.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure the correlation goes together. Like I definitely get what you're saying.
Oh, and also Motown, you see some of those like male and female groups back in those days where some of their dance moves, they were kind of smooth with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Tina Turner and James Brown. And it's like back when she was in the Ike and Tina Turner review and how James Brown danced during his shows, it's a little more rough if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
Now, through the Soul Train days and the disco night, we have the dance. Now, we're in the 1970s. And in 1971, a show debuted called Soul Train, which is kind of like a black version of the American Bandstand.
I can see that.
Yeah, where you see black young people with afros. Like my mom, she was like in her teens and like 20s at this time, and I remember growing up watching it on Saturdays. And the disco nights, this no like the disco era, and also around this time in the 70s. In fact, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. That you see like early, this is one time you see early hip hop bands like the Lockers. Have you seen what's happening? That's a TV show from like back in the 1970s, and there was a character on
I
there
definitely
named
remember that.
Greenblunt. Yeah, he was
Mm-hmm.
part of that group called like the Lockers. That's
I
like
didn't know that.
that's an example of early um, hip hop dance and the genre in itself. With BET, MTV, and VH1, we have the dance. Now we are in the 80s and 90s. Now this is what I remember of how one of the ways I learned how to dance was watching music videos. And I forgot to mention another one. Remember the box?
I never heard of that.
Well, the box, it was a TV channel. Like, if this, you want to watch a music video, you gotta call and you gotta like a request. You gotta pay to if you want this video played.
Mm-hmm.
It's one like the 80s and 90s. Like, I'm a millennial, and I remember watching music videos, and I learned how to dance by doing some of these dances and by watching these music videos.
Oh, well, I definitely remember because trust and believe, the man right here behind me on my little wall, he taught me how to dance. Michael
Michael
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yes, that's my number one. Like that's all I remember was trying to practice, trying to be as good as him.
Yeah, and also try to mimic his sister too, Janet.
Mm. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, and now here we are. Through social media, we have to dance. Now, here we are, the 21st century. This is what social media start is getting started. The fact I remember my senior year in well, the last semester in high school, YouTube came out, and then like Facebook, MySpace, these whole social media is starting to come out, and you're starting to see dance, a lot of like people dancing on there. And there was a show I remember on BET. In fact, BET came out before MTV and VH1. There was a show called 106 in Park. In fact, I remember growing
Mm-hmm.
up watching a lot of music video shows like Top 10 Countdown, Video Soul, Video Gospel, Planet Groove, all just a lot of video shows. TRL.
I definitely remember that. I used to watch that with Carson Daly.
Oh yes, and okay, at Broadway, church, the club, community centers, competition, Hollywood, television, social gatherings, universities, all over the world, we have to dance. We even put our own spin on it. Now, there's like different places like black people learn how to dance. It's not like in a formal setting like a dance studio. It's like you go, you see a broad like a theatrical musical show, church like the praise dancers. I used to be a praise dancer. The club, no matter like what like time decades I just mentioned, community centers usually have like dances for like the young kids and teenagers. And I remember
And
going to
competitions.
yes, yep, competitions like break dancing. You got served.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood, like you watching movies, like you watching television, social gatherings, like let's say a wedding or different events that allow you to dance. Universities, like like the marching band, like HBCU marching bands, drumline,
Oh yeah, you're definitely dancing in there. That's one thing that's incorporated.
all over the world, like the Black Dispersa. Like there, it's not just in the United States where Africans were taken as slaves. They were taken as slaves in different countries, and they add their own kind of flavor to their dance. Like some like dance have like isolations and hip movement. We even put our own spin on it. That's where I mentioned like black ballet dancers. They're these
Mm.
young girls. It's called hiplet. It's like ballet mixed with hip hop dance.
I've never heard of that. I'm gonna have to research that because I definitely never heard of mixing
Let me
ballet and hip hop.
let me put the word in the chat for you so you can search for it sometime right now.
Yeah, 'cause I'm definitely looking to that because that's definitely that sounds very interesting. They see hip hop and ballet together.
Because of this, I shake what my ancestors gave me and get my Jackson on. So to the future and beyond, we have the dance. It's like what my ancestors gave me. It's like a part of the script I want to do. Like I imagine I'm working on the we got to do research and a lot of things. It's like I see like me, like right now, current me, and like kind of look like mirrors of me from the past doing like that dances like eras dances that she's was like in. And also I meant get my Jackson on. You know what Jacksons I'm talking about. You seen their dances. Like the
They're very
19th,
precise.
yes, you know, like Jackson's.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely
Michael
Jackson
Jackson.
5.
Oh, and Janet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes,
And
like they
then,
was so precise and cut what they was like. It was everything was clean.
and also, like to the future beyond, because who knows what um the trend of dance will be next. And you know, there's been a lot of whole bunch of debate about twerking, but get this, twerking has been around before hip hop. Before
I never
it was
know
like a
that.
certain, it's like a certain dance that came from some in Africa. I need to pinpoint the exact origin in my
Hmm.
research and the actual name of it, but it's been around like longer than hip hop. Like every
So
time you think about twerking, you know, uh, like you see the hip hop video, the people moving the butt.
I can see that because I can say that I feel like now they changed it to it probably back then it probably wasn't as vulgar as it is now because back then it probably was in a way of you can do it but it don't look as sexual as it do now where now it looks as in like it's a sexual way.
In fact, African dance, like the dance of like a black origin in general, looked at as vulgar because you see there's a lot of hip movement, a lot of isolation. It was looked at like that in general.
And that's sad because I can't say when I look at African dance, I see them dancing with their hips. But to me, I don't think it's sexual in a way. I just feel like, oh, they're just dancing. Like they're
Yeah,
entertaining. Like it's in their culture that for them to do that. So I feel like in some ways, I feel like if you're not part of their culture or either you just don't understand, you're gonna think of it as in a sexual way.
yeah, it's like certain dances, like let's say samba or hula, uh, hip movement like involved, or like Tahitian like hula, or the
Hmm.
Polynesian, either way for the indigenous people that has like hip movement in there was like looked at as like vulgar by according to like the European aesthetic of dance.
And see, I don't see how all of that can become sexual because I just feel like we're just moving our bodies, grooving to the beat, and just enjoying ourselves. And I just feel like if we can express ourselves through dance, why not? If we got to do something different, I feel like that's a way of expressing ourselves. Getting like if you're going through something, you getting it out of you. Especially if you don't have any other outlet. Some people outlet is dancing, and if you throw something in there, you just feeling the groove and feeling how you feel. You just feeling the move, the moment. And with that being said, when you post your artists, your the artists on your blog for the artwork, what do you look for when you post them?
I look for things that I like some of these artworks. I remember when I was an art history major at University of South Alabama, where I got my degree in art history with a minor in dramatic art. These are like the arts that stood out to me and that I like critique and discuss them. There's like a history behind that artwork,
Oh, that's good.
and
So,
also the artworks that you on that blog. There are not my original artworks. If I do have my original artworks there, I will let you people know, and all credit goes to the original artist, alive or not.
that's good because I seen a couple of artwork up there, and I saw how you briefly explained like the meaning of the artwork, and I like that because I can't say sometimes we don't know the meaning behind what we're seeing on the artwork. We just look at it as just a picture. And sometimes I like to get a little brief excerpt about it so I can get a deeper dive into what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And since I stated that you are a self publisher, what was that like getting yourself self published?
Well, what made it easy is that in the era I live in right now, the internet has made that an easy task. It's just that some of like the say agitator guidelines, like let's say Lulu, KDP, Kobo, Google Books, Books a Million, BAM for short, like have certain guidelines and also certain like file guidelines that you have to use to upload your manuscript. For example, like docx, doc, PDF, EPUB, mob. There's certain guidelines.
So basically, it's easier to get yourself self published than going through an actual company.
Yes, it has. It's like traditional publishing and hybrid publishing.
Okay, because I know from what I researched when I tried to write a book, it seemed like with going through a publishing company is like you have too many restrictions. It's like they they want you to do certain things their way. And is it true that you have a deadline if you're with a publishing company, or you don't know about that?
Well, I don't know more. Need to know about the traditional part, but like maybe you have like a deadline if you're self-publishing, and if you have like if you want people like pre-order your book or something, that maybe have it out by that time, or maybe change the date. I'm still
Hmm.
learning more about it as how, especially how self-publishing has evolved.
And have you thought about doing like a book tour one with your books?
Oh, I do plan on doing that. I plan on doing like with my like do my own like poetry show, book
Okay.
signings, and just I'm trying to raise the funds and like, with marketing promotion. There's a company that has helped me a lot with that. It's called Precious Digital Marketing Agency, and we're working on getting like a crowdfunding like a crowdfunding site for
Hmm.
together. So I'll be able to like raise funds, like let's say venue fees, certain equipment that I need, like let's say ring lights, microphone, laptops. Hey, oh yeah. Also, I need a professional photographer, for my media kit.
Oh, that's good because you don't hear a lot about that because normally you hear a lot of people stating that they doing this out of pocket themselves and they paying for everything.
Besides, being a writer is a business in general.
It definitely, I can
Oh,
definitely attest to that.
LLC. I need to get that one. Is raise money for.
Yes, because I trust and believe I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I need to get one for my name because I surely don't want nobody stealing my good old name out here in these streets
Oh,
and trying to
there's some.
copy.
Oh, there's a website that there's like some kind of seminar, a webinar that I kind of participated in. It was called like Black Authors Rock, and she Dr. Latracy, I hope I got her name right. She told me about a website, and I'm about to type it in the chat right now. And I'm also about to. It's copyright.com, and also I remember watching a video on YouTube. It's from alex.com. One of the videos talking about you start a business. One of the things you do to do is get legal representation.
Hmm. Oh, I'm definitely gonna look. And I'm glad you gave me all this good information because I definitely need it. And with that being said, do you plan on expanding with your artistry and everything? Like, do you plan on expanding and growing bigger? Like, what's your goals?
Oh well, yes I do. Do more acting, do more singing, do more modeling, do more dancing, write more books. In fact, I'm working on my third book right now. It's a non-poetic book. It's called Make Money While Sitting on Your Ass,
All
where the
right.
ass part has the two US dollar signs on it.
That makes sense because I mean, hey, we do. It's money to be made out here in these streets. Like we need every dollar that counts. We need it. And what's that book basically? Do you feel like getting a brief excerpt on what that's going to be about, or that's basically under wraps?
Well, that's it basically under wraps for now. I'm still writing and researching more so I'm able to fill out the book more.
Hmm.
And also it's important for a writer, like if you're writing a book, do a copyright page so nobody won't steal your stuff.
I'm glad you said that. So when the with the future listeners and previous listeners listen, they will know firsthand, hey, to do that exactly because we don't want nobody going to court back out here trying to say they took something from somebody else.
Okay,
And
what's your name, or do you use your real name or your stage name for this podcast?
I use my stage name for my podcast.
And what is your stage name?
My stage name is what was said, but my nickname is Vontae.
Either way, there might be another one of somebody who got your name and talking about you stole their stuff. And let me give you an example of this. Do you remember a duel called Coffee Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember After Party Weekend?
Yep.
Well, get this. There was like another singer who sued them. And do you know what her name was?
I don't remember her name.
Coffee Brown.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
So she was suing for the same name, basically.
Yes. And I don't know what the results are after that court case, but either way, there might be another Waterfall Adams out there that I do not know and will try to sue me. Yeah, just don't forget to like the trademark copyright stuff. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, because I noticed I can't say I Google my name to try to make sure, like, hey, who else out here got the same name? I try to Google my name without the underscore, with the underscore, and everything that pops up is me. I'm like, ooh, that's a blessing to see that everything that pops up is anything that's correlating to me and that pertains to me. And I'm like, I just got to get the ball rolling, the money right to get it copywriting. So if somebody try to snatch it, they ain't gonna be able to. I'm like, I did it before you did. And with that being said, we're gonna talk about so what is the meaning behind your books that you created?
Well, my books they talk about different things. For example, my first self-published book it talks about the arts, blackness, and 21st century issues. My second book talks about freedom, race, religion, womanhood, even include a tribute poem by one of my poetic inspirations.
And what got you to write those? Like, was there anything that really clicked to you to make you feel like, oh, this actually sounds like something good that I want to talk about?
Well, I always want to write a book one day. I just didn't know what. And then some of these poems that I actually wrote down, and some I even performed spoken word on, I put them all together, and we have the two books you see today.
That's good. That's good. I definitely can say I definitely enjoyed this podcast. I definitely enjoyed it. And I'm going to close this podcast out with basically thanking everyone for listening and thanking you, Waterfall Adams, for joining and wanting to be up here. So you can go ahead and just give your social media out and where everyone can find you at and find your books at so they can go ahead and take a little read into it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send some on the chat, but before that, I am on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Okay, well, I'm gonna put some down. Yeah, put some links on. All right. Yeah, whatever I have available right now, and I do plan on doing my own what's that podcast one day. I just need to figure out what my platform's gonna be, so I won't bore you all to death. And I'm also going to give you the uh, Instagram website to the person who runs the company that helps me with the marketing and publishing, which is called Precious Digital Marketing Agency. And I'm about to give some links to my books right now. Available in paperback, ebook, I'm trying to get into the audiobook format. And I'm about to give here's a link to, and also a link to one of my blogs, or both blogs. It's kind of mixed up in there. If you're having technical difficulties, I apologize in advance.
Well, I'm definitely attach all your information with the video so everyone can find you.
Okay. Oh, here's my Tumblr. And if you when that crowdfunding site is complete, in fact, I remember seeing a link to that. And also here's a link to my Amazon Offer Central page.
All right.
Well, I don't have all my links right now. Just remember the ones I told you in the audience about. Oh wait, I think I found my Twitter one. I hope it directs you to where I am. If not, I apologize in advance again. Wait a minute, did I already do the TikTok one? If not, I think I see the TikTok one now. Okay, it's all for now. If I don't have it all, I apologize in advance.
I mean,
Oh, I'm on LinkedIn as well.
I'm about to say if you definitely don't have it, you can definitely send it to me so I can definitely add it to the info section of the video.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Now, I thank everyone for listening once again, and thank everyone for joining. And thank Waterfall Adams for joining also. And if anyone wants to send a voicemail, you can send me a voicemail at 757-909-7583 about anything you want to talk about. If you just want to get anything off your chest and you just want to vent, go ahead and call me. It's going to be anonymous. And what was said is out.